Now, I don't want to tempt fate because we all know how fickle the football manager gods can be. But, and this is a big but, excellent. This is the first time in, 3-4 seasons that we've started a season well. I think this could be our year. Hello and welcome to Season 11, Part 2 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kev, and coming up on today's episode, we are at home against Swindon and then away against Millwall. Now, since you were last with me, we've had a pretty decent start to the season. There's been the odd blip here and there, but I'm sure you'll agree there's a lot more green and yellow there than there is red. We had this little blip, but we don't care about the EFL Cup. That's not really a blip, so just Carlisle away. And to be honest, when you're managing Plymouth, you kind of expect to lose Carlisle away. It's quite a trek. So I can live with that result. Other than that, we've not lost a league game, and that leaves us after, I know we're only after 5 games, if it eventually loads up. After 5 games, we're only 2 points outside the playoffs. We're in 9th position, top half the table. That's exactly where we're supposed to be. Interestingly, Southend topped the league with 5 wins from 5 games, and they've got a top scorer who's not Martel Taylor-Crossdale. That troubles me a little bit, but, can't be too picky. Who's their manager now? Southend, now managed by some fella called Scott Brown. Scott Brown? Why do I know that name? Just looks like he's just potted around his entire career around the lower leagues. That's probably why I know his name, but it's his first club that he's managed, and he seems to have got off to a rather good start. So, well done, Scott Brown. You know Kev yet, but keep it up. We are going to be hot on your tails. We're going to give them a run for their money, I've decided. So this is the team that we're going to be playing for the first of today's 2 games at home against Swindon. A little bit different from the team you saw in the last episode. We're still trying to work out who the best 11 is. I'm still trying to work out how to accommodate all of the attacking midfielders that we signed over the summer. But I think we are getting closer all the time to a proper full-strength starting team. So in goal, we've got Kevin Thompson. A back four of Kelly, Fid, Jordan and Smith. That's right, Mark Smith, our left back. He's been training to play as a right back. He's right-footed. I think we're going to give him a go today, mainly because, not because he's been particularly great, but because Mark Kelly, he's ready. He needs to be getting in the team now. He's 22 years old. He's already, he's as good as Smith. Okay, he's not as good as Smith if we look at the ratings, but he's going to be better than him, and I think we need to give him game time. Nyambi is on international duty at the moment, so it makes more sense to move Smith across than it does to bring Luke Ayling into the team, who is like 1,000 years old and is only here because he was on a 25-year contract or something ridiculous and we couldn't get rid of him in the summer. So Smith moves across to right back. Kelly comes into the side. Remember, we've got another reserve left back as well, who's out on loan at Boston at the moment. So we're rather blessed with left backs, so we can quite happily convert Smith to a permanent right back once he's done with his training, and a bit of match experience will do him the world of good in moving towards that goal. Then in midfield, we've got Joey Smith, Fisher and Shorthouse. Shorthouse is going to play in central midfield to allow Jim McBride back into the team behind the front 2. Shorthouse did play behind the front 2 in the last game and scored. He's had a rather good start to his Plymouth career. 1 start, 1 goal. Came out of it with an 8.7. But now we're moving him back there because Jim McBride has been a decent. That average rating doesn't tell the whole story, I don't think. He's been rather good for us. Perhaps he's gone off the boil a little bit in the last couple of games, but was a very important player early on, so I want to get him back into the side. Don't want to drop Shorthouse. It does mean Ollie has to drop down to the bench, and Jose Antonio hasn't managed to find an established spot in the team yet, despite us spending money on him. And then up front, we're dropping... no, we're not dropping him. Hold on. Declan... I was going to say, we dropped him for the last game, but now he's on international duty. Declan Davison away with Northern Ireland. It is frustrating that 2 of our better players are off on international duty. But, what can you do? We have got plenty of talent up front now. Tom Dixon's on 4 goals from 8 games, so he just moves across from defensive forward to poacher. And we bring Sean Thompson into the team, who so far has only started 1 game, but has scored twice from the bench. That was a lot of words to get out there. Let's get into this game. It's always a little bit of a worry when we have to go into a game without Davison, but we did okay in the last game. He did come off the bench though, and we did okay when we had to do it last season, if I recall. So I think we'll be okay. We've got we've got a lot of very similar quality strikers at the club now, so I'm not going to panic too much. Is that current posh goalkeeper Luke McGee in goal for Swindon? Did I just guarantee that man a clean sheet by mentioning his name? Do I not understand my own self-imposed rules? Jordan heads clear, but they're still pushing on it as Thompson makes a save well and Smith comes across to cover. It's the second interception he's had from right back already. There you go. Already a successful conversion, although it is going to cause me a considerable amount of discomfort to have a right back wearing the number 3, but there's worse things that could happen. I mean, we could live in a crazy world where goalkeepers wear the number 2, for example. That I wouldn't stand for. Right, so we're on the attack again. Dixon with a lovely ball through to Thompson, who's through on goal and really should have scored. He needed to do a lot better with that. That was our second clear-cut chance of the game, and we should be 1-0 up. And it might come back to bite us that we didn't convert that chance. Shorthouse doesn't get there with the interception. The cross comes in from deep, and Swindon are now 1-0 up. And we are being mugged at the moment, boys and girls. That we've had 2 clear-cut chances. They've only had 1, but they're 1-0 up. A combination of the Thompson miss that he should have done better with, and Shorthouse really should have been closing down there. Look, he's running in the wrong direction. He's not, defensive work isn't really his forte, but you'd expect him to at least be able to run towards the player, not past him. So that's something that we perhaps need to work on with O'Keefe. Remember, he's coming from Blackpool. Blackpool are rubbish. He was their best player, but they're still rubbish. So he's not going to come in and be our best player the way he was Blackpool's best player. Right, we need to get back into this game and show you that we are actually the decent team I was explaining we were before the game started. Dixon out to Smith. Cross comes in from the right. McBride is there. There you go. Smith showing that he is quite capable of playing at right back. And that was a beautiful little cross, actually. Found his man perfectly. Didn't have to lump it across the area. Just slides it across to McBride, who's perfectly positioned as the extra man in there, charging through from midfield. I warned you Jim McBride was good. He's just proved he's good. And I really like Smith as a right back. Right, McBride now to Thompson. To Dixon, who picks the ball up. I was expecting it to go all the way on to Smith. Dixon picked it up and really should have done a little bit better with it after he stole the ball off the toe of Mark Smith. But yeah, what are you going to do? We're still being mugged with a draw at the moment. We've still had our 2 clear-cut chances to their 1. Thompson's not having a good game at all, so we're going to bring Warnock on. I think this might be the first time we've seen Jay Warnock. He's the one who's on loan from Hull and picked up an injury straight away. He's not close to match fit, but we'll get a little bit of game time into him today, see how he does. Kelly isn't playing great, but we don't have any more fullbacks. We talked about that before the match, so we can't really bring him off. And we're going to take off Fisher and bring on Jose Antonio to play as the box-to-box midfielder for the last 20 minutes. I want to find a way to get him into the side. I want a little bit more experience in our midfield. It's a very young, inexperienced midfield 3 at the moment, and that's why we signed Antonio. But fitting him in is a bit of a challenge. Right, Dixon's going to come off for Derek Thorne, who is going to play as a poacher, and 10 minutes. Let's go and grab a goal, eh? I think we're in the ascendancy. Thorne picks the ball up fairly deep, and what on earth did he do with it? That was just absolute madness. I need to see this in 3D. I do not understand what just happened. We don't even go back far enough. It just looked like Thorne turned around and clonked the ball back towards his own goal. It was a beautiful through ball to their player. I just don't know what just happened. That is just insane, and we've lost the game because of it. We need to go and have a quiet word with Derek Thorne behind the bike sheds. That was just that made me sad. Right, we really need to beat Millwall now. I'm going to have to go back and re-record that really positive stuff at the start of the video. We're reverting to tried and tested methods a little bit. Nyambi comes back into the side. Ollie comes back into the side. Davison comes back into the side. And fingers crossed they'll make all the difference. We'll go to Millwall. We'll pick up a win. We'll move back up to just outside the playoff spots. And then we can just pretend that last game didn't happen. Derek Thorne will never play for this club again. There was an incident. We don't need to talk about it. I just still don't understand what happened. I mean, it's been 10 minutes in my world. I know it's only just happened for you lot, but I've sat here for 10 minutes just shaking my head, muttering about... I've got his name written on my wall now. He's on my enemies list. Just ridiculous. I don't know what happened. Right, Thompson. Rubbish again. I really am struggling to get my head around Thompson. We might have to start trying some different combinations up front. Maybe Dixon and Davison is what we should have gone with today. In fact, that's what we were using before. Why did I keep Thompson in the side? He needs to score a goal now to show me, to justify why he's in the team. Fisher out to Smith, who just gets there, crosses into Thompson, who presumably scored. The whole thing glitched out at me, though. I guess you lot saw it properly. That's usually how these things happen. But I just saw the cross and then the flashing for the goal. So Smith he did really well to keep that in. Gets it onto his right foot for the cross. It lands on Thompson's head, and I tell you what, to be fair to him, that is an absolutely stunning header. What an excellent goal all round. We're 1-0 up, away against Millwall. That puts us back up to 9th place, where we were at the start of the episode. Still only, in fact, just 1 point outside of playoffs now, as it stands right now. So that would be an improvement on where we were at the start of the video. So it would be classed as a 100% successful episode if that happens. So fingers crossed, everything stays as it is, and we just get to pretend that nonsense didn't happen. Curry, is he our goalkeeper from last year? He was called Curry, wasn't he? The one who was on loan? We need to check him out. But after the game, we don't want to guarantee a clean sheet for him. I know he can't get a clean sheet now, but he doesn't have to concede any other goals, and he won't if we mention his name. Smith is brilliant. That was a good tackle again. Davison picks the ball up now, and Curry does make the save. And we have the corner. It's McBride to take. It doesn't even beat the first man. It's a poor corner, but McBride does get to the rebound. Smith to Fisher to Fid to McBride to Davison. We're doing it again, but they just got a foot in and stopped a really nice little move from building up the way. We have so many players packed into the middle of the pitch there, and once we get those little passing triangles going and we're outnumbering players and just tippy-tapping it around them, it is beautiful to watch. It's just when teams realise that we're doing it and decide to just run down the wings that it becomes a problem, because we obviously don't have anybody there. That took an awful long time to move from the 58th to the 64th minute, considering there was no highlight. I think there was just lots of stuff going on in other games, because the whole league table seemed to move around just as the game decided to kickstart itself back to life. Right, Davison not playing well. He's going to come off. Warnock comes on, and I guess we'll play them that way round. And we're also going to take off McBride and bring on Keith Shorthouse in his more natural position in behind the front two. And a nice attacking change, freshen things up a bit. It's the one part of the team I'm not really comfortable with yet. I think our defence and midfield is pretty much set. We're just going to take off Schmidt and bring on Antonio for the last 10 minutes. But the front three, because we've got so many options there and there's no real standout players, I think it's going to take a little bit of time to decide what the front three is on a regular basis. Shorthouse should have just slotted the ball through there. He sort of hesitated a little bit and ended up losing out. And they're through on goal here, and Thompson makes a good save. And Millwall have a corner. Cross comes in, and we're not dealing with it. Shorthouse gets the tackle in, though. We criticise his defensive work in the last match. He's obviously paid attention, got a good tackle in there. And Warnock, he's not match fit, but he just gets there. Finds Thompson to Fisher, to Warnock, to Antonio. Shorthouse. It's happening again. Niambi, Thompson. Oh, he did such a good header in the first half, and that one was absolutely an easier chance, and it just goes over the bar, and hopefully we don't end up regretting it. Fid heads clear, and can he do the same again? Well, it's not really clear. It goes across the pitch, but Fisher intercepts. Warnock, Shorthouse. We've got a man over here. Thompson, we've got lots of men in the middle. We don't find any of them, but it's back to Thompson, to Shorthouse. Should have done better with that, but it ultimately doesn't matter, because we've picked up the 1-0 win, and we are back up the 10th, and we're still 2 points outside of playoffs as we were at the start of the episode. So despite a poor result in the last game, no disasters happened. We're still fine. We're going to be okay. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you pop a like on there for me. Subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more. And thank you very much for watching.